But anyway, I was talking about the free integral Haim, which is the last of the developments from pan art. And again, that had no brass coating on the seam, no brass coating on the top. But the interesting thing about it is it's not tuned with any specific tools. So it would be, each drum has a little bit of a variance. It's in tune with itself, but not in tune perhaps with other drums, and might be a little bit more challenging to play with other instruments. This is a little bit like gamelan tuning in that way. Okay, I have two more little quick videos that I want to show you, and then we want to get to the concerto. My favorite player that's online is a guy named Colin, who used to be a cellist, and now is playing quite a bit of hang. The first video I have for you is a little bit of a performance from him where he's actually playing the drum this way, which is pretty interesting, and he's kind of playing it around like this. I find his quality of sound and dexterity pretty amazing. So let's take a quick listen to him. Video that I like to show you, which is also Colin playing, and he talks about specifically his technique. He's gotten way into it much more than I have in the short time that I've been playing the drum, but I've definitely been studying his videos. The way that the elegance for which he plays, and again, the dexterity of how he moves around the drum, I think really gives you an opportunity to kind of see what possibilities might be available for this drum. So this is some of his little speed tricks that he has.
Well, you get 2 quick strikes. Now when I think about speed, I try to think about keeping both hands extremely efficient and trying not to have one work harder than the other. So this technique for me kind of rides that. So to just demonstrate the technique, I'm going to do a simple walk down with my right hand, and then I'm going to employ the technique with my left hand. So it's going to be kind of like a quick triplet. So it's going to look something like this slow. So the general idea is it's in between each note. I'm just going to speed up. Now really my right hand is going to be the one that's going to be working harder.
That's amazing, I think.
That's a general technique, and it can be pulled onto one note. So for me, it's a little bit of wrist action and just a little bit of finger movement. The finger movement is just really just to kind of reset.
Okay.
So as this
So
one, as my thumb is striking,
some of the things that he's doing with it. And again, I just feel like the possibilities for this instrument are just kind of only really scratching the surface for it. So, okay, so that's the hang drum, which is in the Canyons Concerto. But now let's turn to Keith and get some information about this piece. So the first thing I want everybody to know is, how did this piece come about? I mean, how do you even get to the point where you're writing a percussion concerto?
Well, it helps to know a really good percussionist.
Yeah.
We were actually at your house. This was at an event. You may have even been there. I don't know. It was an open house kind of a situation, right. And we were sitting talking, and I probably brought it up.
I don't remember.
The possibility of doing a percussion concerto, and we thought it was a good idea.
Yeah.
And we have some connections with a symphony in China. We talked to the directors there, and they were interested. And that's kind of how the whole idea got started. Then, as it started to refine itself, the question was, what's this about?
Right.
And I'd actually started the first movement without really knowing, and it's, the idea of using the unique surroundings in southern Utah, and as you see some pictures, I think you'll agree it's unique, as kind of the backdrop of this concerto occurred to someone. And that may have been you, I don't know.
I don't think so. I think that was all you.
That might have been me as well. So the first movement, which was already started, became the Dance of the Hoodoos in Bryce Canyon. I'm originally from Utah, and I've explored a lot of these places, and I've kind of fallen in love with a lot of the places, and so I decided on Bryce Canyon, Zions, Arches, and Goblin Valley.
Right.
Goblin Valley because it's maybe the most unique place on earth. I don't know.
Right.
So the Dance of the Hoodoos, evolved into a dance of these formations. Hoodoos are big, tall rock formations in Bryce Canyon.
We have
and
some
elsewhere.
pictures. We can jump right into talking about that first movement. So Joe's probably showing you pictures of the Hoodoos. So Bryce Canyon, from where we are now, is about an hour and a half
about an hour and a
from
half
here.
away.
And one of the things that I think people say about Bryce is that it's kind of got this very Dr. Seuss sort of quality to it. These hoodoos are, how would you just, you can describe them?
Well, they're formed from water and wind eroding the rocks away, the loose parts away, and so you have these just lots of very tall, etched structures, and some of them look like, there's one formation called Thor's Hammer that looks like the big hammer.
Right.
There's another one they call Queen Elizabeth, I think, Queen Mary, one of the queens, and it looks like a queen sitting on her throne. Mm-hmm. They're just very interesting and colorful formations with reds and whites and grays and yellows and all kinds of colors.
So how does that play out from a compositional standpoint? Do you keep pictures around you while you ride, or do you just keep going back? How does it?
More my imagination of these rock formations, in the middle of the night coming to life and having this dance.
I love it.
And so, I know Bryce Canyon fairly well and what things look like, and I've hiked down in them. I've been there a number of times. So just imagining, these formations actually coming to life and moving and dancing.
Cool.
So that's the idea behind the.
Tell us a little
first
bit
movement.
about the instrumentation for the first movement, both from the soloist perspective and also from the orchestra. This is a full orchestra piece, so
It is.
We have in our percussion repertoire, we have concertos that are for string orchestra, and then we have concertos for full orchestra. This is full orchestra with the full complement of winds, brass, percussion, piano. I can't remember.
There's piano in a percussive sense.
Right.
In one of the movements, not
Right.
in the first movement. But we in putting this together, we also talked to the Orchestra of Southern Utah, who is premiering this piece on Saturday, and again, they were interested in the piece as well. So all this kind of came together miraculously, and we went ahead. But the orchestration for the soloist starts out with marimba, and then as the orchestra builds, the orchestra would cover up the marimba. And so I moved to wood blocks with some auxiliary things going on, because the wood block will carry over the orchestra. And I thought, why not throw a little wood block cadenza? Because I don't know if there's any of those
I don't think
around.
so. I remember when he came to me and he said, there's a woodblock cadenza. There's two cadenzas in the first movement. I mean, that in and of itself is
that's a
significant.
little strange.
There's a marimba cadenza in the first movement and also a woodblock cadenza in the first movement, which is a lot of fun.
And I didn't know if I was being an idiot or
No, it
if
totally
it would work.
works,
And
actually.
so I think it works, and we'll see on Saturday if it how it comes across.